Hello everyone. If you have watched the 4 o'clock session already of Design It for the After School Club, this is the same thing again, but a little bit more simplified for the younger ages. This is more geared towards ages 6 through 10. But otherwise, thank you for joining us today. This is part 1 of our Tinkercad series in design for 3D models with 3D printing and inventing objects with 3D printing. This first day is just a introduction to Tinkercad and how to use it, and next week is learning how to take an idea and carry it to a prototype. If you have any questions or just want to chat, you can just join chat, say hi or what's up, anything like that, or ask questions, you can do so. Now I'm just going to get started here. So we're in Tinkercad. You just tinkercad.com is where you can go. It's a free website that lets you design 3D models and lets you make some circuits and stuff like that. You can click join now and create an account through here. But I already have an account and I choose to sign in through Google. I just click sign in through Google and it just takes me right in here. There we go. So this is like a little area where you can find your little 3D models if you ever made one before. And lets you look at all the separate resources. But if you're oh, maybe you're 6 years old, you can just go straight to Create Design and start playing with some 3D models. I'm also going to show you a little bit of circuits. You can put together some circuits in here. They just added code blocks in here. And then the lessons if you want to try their lesson thing. So for us to get started in 3D modeling, 3D design, just click on this big button that says Create New Design in here. So our goal today within this is to create a little keychain that can be used. I'm going to go back for a little bit, but you can stay in there. A keychain that you can 3D print. This is one we just made in the earlier session. If it loads. Here we go. So I made a keychain with my name on it. This is what our goal is going to be, is to make a simple keychain with the shapes that we have. So now I'm going to go back to my old design here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to look at is how to navigate through a 3D space. You can do so, hold on here, I just got to fix a few things. There we go. Ooh, too short. Just a few little adjustments I forgot to make. Otherwise, yeah, navigating 3D places. If you are working from a tablet, you can just use your finger to touch and drag it around. But otherwise, I highly recommend using a mouse to navigate for 3D design. If you want to get into 3D modeling stuff, definitely get a mouse. But Tinkercad has ways to navigate without using a mouse. I'm going to start with a mouse. So if I hold right-click down and move my mouse about, it lets me rotate on this space. If I drag this cube in here and put it in, I could rotate around and see the different angles of this cube, just like in real life. So 3D models and 3D design is just basically making flat art into 3D art, like objects we see. I forgot to show the examples here. At DoSpace, we have 3D printers and try out. You can make a reservation at dospace.org. If you're below the age of 18, you will have to bring a grown-up with you to try out our 3D printing machines. I think I forgot to mention that for the last bit. Oops. Hopefully when they go through the website, they can see. I just got a notification. They can see that you have to have a grown-up. But here's the little examples that I have here. We got this little vase. It's got it's really bumpy, and it's something you can make in 3D design. I don't think this was made in Tinkercad. Maybe it was. I don't think it was. Actually, yeah, this is possible to make in 3D Tinkercad. Just a little, I don't know, tedious. We also have this astronaut here. This is another thing that's 3D printed at DoSpace. You can also make tools with 3D printing. So here's like this little clamp thing. I think it's a headphone holder. I just find it weird looking, like, what is this part for? I was told it was a headphone holder, so I'm like, okay. You can put your headphones right on here and rest them somewhere. So part of the series is that let me get rid of those pings that are going on right now. And there we go. Well, a part of the series is like learning Tinkercad, but also learning how to create objects and tools. For this group, we're going to make like a little character that we can 3D print. Like, I'm not guaranteeing they can 3D print, but it's like optional to take that 3D model, maybe bring it to DSpace and try to 3D print it. Now back to this. So I just said with right click, you can rotate around the space. With middle click, I can like pan things around. And then with the scroll wheel, I can zoom in and I can zoom out. And then left click makes me zoom things around, move things around, or select things here. Now let's say you don't have a mouse. You can click and move things around. Or you can use this cube. It's like on the upper left over here. It says top and front on it. If you can't read, you can always ask a grown-up how to use this. So I can like click on it, like see how like blue highlights on it? I can click and move it around. If I was on a like tablet of some sort, I can just like hold my finger right here and like rotate it around through this. I know with the tablet you can also like use your fingers just to rotate in the space, but here gives us precise views. So I like tap on the word left right here. It gives me a straight on left view. There's these arrows right here for me to flip to different sides. If I want like the corner for some strange reason, I grab this view and I get like the corner of my view right here, the whole space. So you can like rotate this about, click different sides to navigate in the 3D space. If you don't have a mouse, or maybe you do have a mouse and you want like the exact view. So that's handy for if you want an exact view of the top or straight on view of the front and such. Now right below it, there's a button with a house on it. If I click on that, it gives us the home view. That's the starting view of Tinkercad. Right below that, there's like this weird square. It makes us zoom really, really close in to our object. Right below that is the plus to zoom in, minus to zoom out. And below it, I'm not going to talk about this at all, because it's a little confusing to talk about, but there's perspective or orthographic view. It just makes things flatter looking when you click on it. Just make sure you're in perspective. So there we go. We learn how to navigate with a mouse and with our cube here. So definitely practice moving around because it can get confusing. Sometimes you can get like lost all the way out here and you're just like, where's my object? Where do I go? I'm like clicking in here, can't find it. To get lost in your 3D view, you can just click on the house and it takes you back. Or if you have your object right here and it's just like, oops, off in space somewhere out there, super far away. Let's say I'm just zooming a bit out. I'm like, where's my object? I know I put it right in it. Of course I found it over there, but let's say it's super, super far away. And I'm just like, where is it? I can click the square right below that to center it on my screen where it is. I'll go back to home view to take me back over here. So you can use home view when you get lost. Your little square view right here to find your object if you lost it. Now, something I like to do a lot is name my creations. If I download this right now, my file will just be called Magnificent RoboLilo. If I look at the file name like that, I'm going to think it's a robot, when really it's a keychain. So I should probably change the name. To change the name, you just double tap or double click. And I'm going to rename this My Keychain. I could just put keychain, but my last object is called keychain. But name this My Keychain because we're making a keychain today. There we go, got my name right here. I'm going to bring that cube in again. I just left click and drag it in, or you can if you're on a tablet, you just tap on it, drag it in. And there goes my lights again. I have like one of those lights that like turns off if there's like no motion after 15 minutes. And the light sensor can't see us from here because there's a thing blocking it in this angle. So sometimes the lights like turns off, but I have like a little base light on the side right here. It gives light into the room, so we're good on that. Yeah, back to this. So, do you see at the top of the screen below the name of our project, there is a copy and a paste. So I can click copy and then paste, make a duplicate here. Or I can click the next button that just says duplicate and repeat. So it duplicates the objects. Or I can click on the trash can and delete them. Of course, they have to be selected. I have to like left click or you tap on it and you see like all these image symbols around it. It means you've selected it. Click delete. If I didn't like that, I could undo by clicking that little arrow right up here. Undo, 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 or redo, redo, redo. I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah, but you can also, if you're familiar with computer commands, if you're younger, you might not, maybe you are. I don't know, like I've been told a lot of like younger children have never touched a computer but have touched tablets. But if you're familiar with computers, just in case, you can do the undo and read. Like if you hover over these, you can do like Control Z and Control to undo, and then Control C and Control V to copy. If you hover over these, you get like the little commands from the computer. Or otherwise, you can just stick to these buttons up here to do that stuff. Okay, so now we're going to start making our keychain here, but right now this little blue grid right here is like our ruler or measuring device for changing the size of our objects, and I don't want my keychain to be millimeters. Millimeters is a unit of measure, and you might be more familiar with inches, like how tall you are. I'm 4 feet and 3 inches. I'm not that. I'm 5'3". I'm not that short. But like you want to like measure this specific, like very exactly, and I want to make sure my keychain is about 2-3 inches here. So if you want to know how to delete that, you can just select it, click the trash can here. I just hit my delete key. But I want to change this here. If you look at the bottom right over here, there's a thing that says edit grid. This is a grid right here. I'm going to click edit grid. There's a thing that says units right here. If I click on this with the little drop down menu, and you can click inches. And here it defaults to 7.87 inches. I'm just going to change it to 5 by 5 inches. Update grid. There you go. Now it's like more spread out in here. So each of these bigger squares right here is 1 inch. And each of these little squares in here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1/8 of an inch. So it's 8 squares in there, and 1 out of 8 squares is 1/8 of an inch. There you go. So now, unless you already dragged a bunch of shapes in here already, I highly recommend clicking each of them and clicking the trash can and remove them from your space, unless you want to add them to your keychain. But now I'm going to bring in a cube. And to do that, to look at this left side over here, I get all these shapes. Make sure it's the box that has red on it, not the one with the stripies through it. You want this one right here. It looks like a cube. You can left click and drag it in, or touch the screen and drag it in. And you get your cube. And it's exactly 1 by 1 by 1 inch here. We're ignoring these two over here. If you want to find more things, you can always go down this menu to find more objects. Or there's one right here that says Tinkercad Basic Shapes. If I click on that, I can find text and numbers, characters, connectors, all this other stuff that I can bring in here. You can find all this fun stuff, like these eyes, sneakers, some pumpkins, all that stuff, but we're sticking to the basics today. So I'm gonna make my keychain, and I'm gonna give it a flat base. So you'll see that these little squares all over around here. I'm going to change the size of our cube. But if you're wondering how to move it, You just left click and drag it around, or hold your finger on this cube and drag it around. But I'm perfectly fine where it is. So I'm gonna make it shorter. And I have to click on this little box right here on top. Make sure you're in top view. Like you can see the top on the top of the square over here. And bring this down to about 1/8 an inch. It's kind of thick. So I'm gonna make something thinner in here. You see snap grid at the bottom right over here. It says snap grid 1/8 inch. If I click on it, I get even more options. The higher the number after the 1/, the smaller the space is. So I'm gonna go 1/16 of an inch in here. There we go. I got the square, bring it down. That's 1/16 of an inch. So now I have like a little flat square. I'm going to want to make it bigger. If you thought about moving these squares at the ends already, you're good to go. So I'm gonna, like if I grab a corner, like a white square and bring it out, it makes the whole thing change size. I don't want that. I'm gonna make it bigger this way, so if I grab a side, like black square in here, I can change the size. So I can drag it out. I want to make it, if you haven't noticed already, there's a number that shows up at the bottom right here to like change what the size is. I'm gonna make this like 2 inches, maybe 2.5. There we go, 2, 1/2. So that's 2.5 inches. And I'm okay with this. And I can left click and just bring it back in the middle-ish area right here. So there's my base. Now, what do we need to make a keychain? A keychain. We obviously need a chain. We also need like a little holder to hold the chain so it connects it for us to attach it to our keys or a backpack. So we're gonna make a little thing. Yeah, if you scroll down, there's this little tube right over here where I can scroll up and grab a cylinder right here. I'm going with a cylinder because I want to teach you guys how to cut holes on the objects. So I'm going to go to the cylinder right here. I'm going to left click, drag it in. There we go, got a cylinder. And you make it to a smaller little hole. So I could just grab the top one little square right here, bring it down. Now, it's the same height as my cube. And then I'm going to grab a corner, drag in to make it like smaller. You can make it whatever size you want. And I'm going to place it slightly in your cube. Just making sure this is centered, that is not centered. You can also count the squares on both sides of this. So there's 4 on that side, 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not lined up. That's probably something to do with my snap here. There we go. Now it's centered. I got this. So I haven't talked about another menu that you can play with. It's this menu right here. It's a shape. I can change the number of sides. So they zoom in here. Grab sides right here. They bring it up. It makes it smoother. They bring it down. It makes it not so smooth. There you go. So what if you want to make your rectangle smoother over here so it's not pointy edges that can hurt, you know? If I have like an option right here to change radius, steps, length, width, height. So you can also change your size through here too. I forgot to mention that. So I can change the size of my box through here. Let me zoom out. And I grab these, you can change the sizes if you don't like grabbing the edges here. Because I know with a tablet, it can get annoying to like grab the edges. So I'm gonna make this smoother. There's a thing called radius that just makes it like a little more smooth. If you notice here, if I grab this in, it makes the edges smoother. So I'm just gonna bring it in a little bit. Steps just makes, change how smooth it is. If I bring them out into 1, there's just 1 angle here. But if I increase the number, it just, makes it a smoother edge. There we go. Now back to the little holder for a keychain. So I'm going to just grab this, I'm going to copy it or duplicate it. So duplicate button, there we go. drag it out. And there's a thing where you change the color here. Changing the color here does not change the color of the 3D print. Whatever you put on your 3D printer is what changes the color. You can organize things that way. Now right next to that it says hole. If I click on it, it makes it transparent. Kind of see through it a little bit here. And what you can do with these is, put this little transparent thing over here and you can make a hole. Right now it's not making a hole. It's kind of doing this little weird effect here. So I'm just going to make it smaller. And oops. Undo. Oops. Having time to get center here. Who is messaging me? What is going on here? I thought I turned these sounds off. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me try to get the center here. I could just, change my number right there, and it's centered right now. So there's another thing I need to teach you, and that is how to get this thing to cut a hole into this right here. And to do that is to combine shapes. So if I hold left click, drag out, or if I just left click both of my objects, but if I grab both here, select them both, and at the top bar right here, there's like the square with a circle next to it. That's called group. If I click on that, it groups the objects and it cuts a hole through it. There we go at all. Now if you don't like that, you can undo that by either undo or this little square, the circle next to it, ungroup. If I click on it, it makes it a whole object again. Bring it in, cuts a hole. So, now here's a fun thing. I can also click mirror and like flip an object. Let me show you a better example of that. I'm gonna grab this here. If you didn't know you can rotate objects, there's like these little arrows on the sides right here. You can like rotate things around. Now if I want to mirror this, I can click the mirror button. It's like a triangle next to each other. And if I click on it, it shows it's like mirroring the object. It's just flipping things over. So you want to flip things a certain way, you can always use that tool to flip things. I'm just going to delete that. Click on the trash can here. Go back to this. And the next thing in here is a line. If I select both of these and I click a line, it lets me like align objects differently within each other. I don't use this much. There we go. I want to get the center of that object in that way, but I don't use it much. I use it in more complex programs like Blender. That's free too, but it's way more difficult than this. Okay. So the next thing we want to do here is probably add our name in here. So if I look at the basic shapes over here on the right side, scroll down a little bit, there's a thing called text. If I drag that in, I get text, and I can type my name right here. See text right there. Backspace, type Ruth, I get that. Now if I put this together, it's kind of hard to see it a bit. Well, you can't usually see it because it's so big. But I'm just going to change it to another color temporarily. And then I'm just going to change its size so it fits. And its height. There you go. I can also change the way the letters look by clicking this thing that calls font right next to it. If I click through it, I get different looks here. So it's up to you how you want that. There you go. Now what if I want to write my name in here instead? I'm going to delete that. Click the trash can to delete. There's a thing over here that's called Scribble. If I click on it, drag it in, I get a new option in here. and I start drawing in here, it shows up in here as my drawing. If I don't like that, if you look at the lower left, it says clear. And clear it. I'm going to draw here, click on eraser, drag it in there to delete things, or I can click the select pencil with a little blob around it to like make a big old blob, or I can click the eraser blob, drag it around, just right next to it, delete it all. And of course I have a undo and redo with these arrows. Okay, so I'm going to try to write my name in here. So each square, click that there. It is not on the same scale. So if I click right here, yeah, it's not on the same scale. Okay, so I'm just gonna write my name. Oops. There we go. There's my name. Looks like it got taller. So I'm just gonna raise a little bit right there. There we go. And you click done on the lower right when you're done. Here's my name. I've written it out. Just gonna stretch it out a bit here, size it. And then I think that's too tall for my keychain. So I'm gonna change the height. And down to about there. There we go, we are done with our keychain. So all we need to do is to get a file that we can put on a 3D printer or some other program as we wish. So I'm just gonna select all these objects here and group them. Like we did before, you see there's a square and a circle right up here at the top, more towards the right. I click on it, binds it together, and that's how it's gonna look when it's 3D printed, all one color. Just like this. There you go. And I'm just doing that so it's all one object together. I'm going to click on it again so it's selected. And at the top over here, there's import, export, and send to. Import lets us import files we found somewhere else into Tinkercad if you want to like edit it or something. Export makes it to a file that we can like 3D print it or like just put it in a game or something like that. Send to just shares this with people and different apps. I'm going to click export. Export lets us download the file. We can put it on a flash drive or email it to ourselves or put it on a cloud storage account or something like that, however you want to move your data. And then you can go over to a 3D printer at ThiewSpace and 3D print your file. So I'm going to click export. It says include the selected shape right here. And there we go. I have selected that shape. That's kind of why I combine it. You can do everything designed, but if you got like some random cube off the side somewhere in here, that will like include that in there. So if I had some random object that I miss, that'll be printed too. So that's why I do this selected shape. Now, .stl is the 3D printer file we use at ThiewSpace. Some other 3D printers use these other things. I'm not going to explain too much of that, because I don't want that to go over your head, so just click the .stl. And then you click on that, downloads, you look at right here, it downloaded, show in folder, there's my file right there. And I can like, take that file, put it in a little flash drive, or put it in an email, and take it to a 3D printer to get it 3D printed. One more thing I want to show here before we're done. If I click export again, there's an option for laser cutting. I've never done laser cutting with Tinkercad objects. There's an option to go 3D print the selected shape. If you are already connected to a 3D printer, you can just have Tinkercad automatically send it to that 3D printer if you're connected to it. And if you like Minecraft, you can actually use Tinkercad to plan out your designs before you build it in Minecraft. So there's a tree right there. It doesn't officially say Minecraft. You just kind of, because I think it's a brand name, so they just kind of keep it separate. And over here, you can assign colors to be different objects. This is saying it's a block of redstone because it's red. And you can change the scale over on the upper left. Kind of showing off my name right there. Yeah, you can see how tiny that tree is. So this will take lots of blocks to bake that. And then of course you can export it. Apparently you can make a schematic file you can import in to like things like Minecraft. I haven't tried it yet. It's possible. And there's like a Lego mode, but it doesn't really show my objects in here. So I don't know how that works, but I'm just showing you the options. And there's also a way for you to bring components if you're trying to like design your 3D print to hold some like tech stuff. You can like put 3D blocks around it to make a holder for that stuff if you wanted to. There's also, I saw at the beginning, there's a circuit version. If you go back over here, you can choose circuits. So you connect circuits and see what they do. And that's quite a bit different than this 3D design view. Otherwise, that is it for today. Join us next Monday for our part 2 series where we learn how to take an idea, an invention of ours, and carry it to a prototype. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a good afternoon. Bye, everyone.